Good evening and welcome, Ship Familia. Tonight is our latinXfactor webinar with Western Digital, and I am really excited to welcome you tonight to hear about how we're going to engineer product launch. Tonight, we have two members from Western Digital to talk with us. One is Jimmy Gomez, who's a SHIP member, and he is a product marketing manager with Western Digital, along with being a SHIP volunteer, especially at National Convention. And our main speaker tonight is Anthony Morquecho, who is the Director of Brand and Integrated Marketing at Western Digital. He's been overseeing the WD Black, SanDisk, and SanDisk professional consumer brands for the last 6 years. He has led management positions in consumer first advertising and on other major tech brands like Samsung and BlackBerry, as well as CPG brands like General Mills and Nestle for over 2 decades. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Anthony and Jimmy, and please take it away.
Yeah, thanks everyone for being here. We're going to have a poll in the chat if you could fill that out for us. And if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to use the Q&A function and we'll make sure those get answered. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, I just want to first say thank you to Nicole and Jimmy for inviting me. We got a great story. I think this is an opportunity for us to kind of share our WD Black story. We're seeing this as a way of kind of talking about how we engineer a new product launch. A lot of potentially as we go into into the marketplace and start having a career. A lot of the focus that potentially you're seeing is really focusing on the development of products. What I want to talk about today is really the holistic kind of approach that we have to take when we take a product to launch to really get consumers to adopt, get our products embedded in their everyday lives. And it is no small feat. So I'll give a little bit of background on myself, a little bit of background on WD Black, and we'll show you a lot of the elements that we have to consider, not only when we're launching a brand, but also when we're engineering a new product launch. So a little bit about me. So I'm here, born and raised in Los Angeles. I actually grew up in San Dimas, Covina, Claremont. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. But I grew up in LA and have loved it, haven't left. I left a couple of times. But when I started my career, I fell in love what LA stands for, right? I love entertainment. I love the idea of marketing, and that really started at a pretty young age. I'm first generation Mexican American on my dad's side. He's from Aguascalientes, Mexico. And then my mom is actually fourth generation from Texas. So a lot of great background in terms of how I started. And in my career, I started off as a student at UCR, graduating in business administration, and then really started my career working in US Hispanic advertising. So this is very, very relevant for this conversation, that when I was looking and started my career, I worked on brands like pretty famous brands, right? Honey Nut Cheerios, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Nature Valley, Yoplait, brands that really stood for and been really established in the marketplace. But my role was really to help influence not only brand managers, but marketing teams to really consider the US Hispanic market as a very viable and very lucrative opportunity to do business within that space. So a lot of my career has been punching up, really getting people to pay attention to the US Hispanic market and what that means to their bottom line. So really having a balance between understanding the consumer space, really understanding the ways in and what resonates with the Latino consumer, and how that really helps with the impact in terms of bottom line business and revenue. From there, and working from there, I actually transitioned in working with Samsung and BlackBerry, working in their mobile phone business in sections to really kind of look at consumer tech and really having kind of the resonance of consumer first marketing practices that we saw in more of the CPG business and how that relates to tech. And that has really been something of a powerful kind of opportunity for me to really add value to these businesses. So about me now. So currently I work at Western Digital. The story that I tell everybody that when I first started is right before I got recruited, I worked at WD, and the Christmas right before, and this was probably a couple months, I had actually gifted my mom and dad, my brothers, and my sister-in-law my passports. And when they opened it, they had no idea what it was and really didn't see the significance of it until they actually started using it. But as we kind of done this has been such a, I'm such a brand advocate for our brands. And when you think about storage and you think about the exponential growth of content, not only in your everyday lives with what you capture on your mobile phone, with what people and professionals do in media and entertainment, but also what photographers, content creators, this huge explosion of content being generated has made our brands so incredibly relevant that people think, I'll just put it up on the cloud. And that is so far from the truth. When you think about consumer needs, about privacy, about being able to have a long-term physical possession of their content, and really having understanding about how precious that is, our brands are so incredibly relevant to those conversations that this is where my job as brand and integrated marketing is to really elevate the brands, make them cool and famous, and also connect with consumers in a way that they understand, right? We're gonna be specifically talking about WD Black, which is our crown jewel right now in our gaming space, where we've done such a phenomenal job of connecting with gamers. And this is what we'll be talking about over the next half hour, about how you take our products and launch them and get a very large audience who isn't necessarily thinking about storage to actually consider our products. What I want to also share is that what's amazing is that the people behind this brand is very large. We're truly a global company when you look at our footprint. We operate in all countries. I think it's 180 countries around the world. And the WD Black gaming brand has really been a labor of love for a cross-functional team that you see here, everywhere from engineering, product development, product marketing, brand and integrated marketing, to really create a holistic experience of our brands and when you look at them. So especially here, you'll see Jimmy on here. It's fantastic that we have a very multicultural and diverse group of men and women that have really catered their professional careers to really establish this brand to be something fantastic. And when you look at it, we're looking at a cross-functional brand and a series of products that are truly solving problems that consumers and gamers specifically are facing today. And that's what I'm going to be talking about a little bit today, is how you connect these amazing products and get that into the hands of the world today. Let me start off with the video to introduce you to WD Black.
You're ready to get in the game now. The last thing you want is to wait and wait. Because the game waits for no one. WD Black, performance storage, purpose-built for gaming. Get in fast, so you can take them out faster. SSD speed that obliterates load times. Performance to transform your game. Expanded capacity to store more. Customizable RGB. Fine-tuned for every style of play. PC, laptop, console. WD Black is purpose-built for the way you game. Because the game never waits. WD Black. Drive your game.
What I wanted to show this because I think it's really important and critical to kind of understand and unpack a lot of what that video said, right? This is a lot of the communication that we pulled out. But when you think about the needs and what we're going to talk about is we're going to walk away with these 5 takeaways that when you're considering and being part of a product launch is you have to consider more than just the spec of the product, the speeds and feeds and the performance. You also have to think about the full surround experience of the product, from ID, packaging, messaging, how you reach your customers, and really how do you lead championing against your competitors. So we'll go into each one of these, and we'll start off with innovation. And I think the biggest testament that we have as a brand is that for those who are gamers, which I think there's a lot of us out here, real innovation always attracts. If you look on your left-hand side, you'll see that this is a tweet from Mark Cerny, and he is the lead architect at Sony PlayStation, who creating I think the PS3, 4, and 5. And what he tweeted out when we launched the SN850 was that this was his go-to product for his own rig. That once PlayStation allowed you to open up and crack open the PS5 to install a SSD, this was his go-to selection. And it was such a powerful moment for us to consider the weight and gravity about what true innovation can be. And when you look at the product, it has gotten accolades across the board as being the go-to product across the board with that. And we know how much it takes about working with engineering, product ID, and really QA to really build a product that is a next generation performance that potentially is the highest performing product on the market today. And you'll see how powerful a PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD can be. One of the things that I think, as you look at these specs, right, you'll see a version that's non-heat sink and a heat sink version. For those who don't know, heat sink basically is an enclosure that helps to pull out the heat from the drive, that allows it for thermal throttling, because if it gets too hot, potentially it can impact the performance of the product. We've also included Rgb lighting, right? So when you look at installing this and our dashboard and software, you can control the LED patterns, colors, brightness, and it really enables just a full experience that when you see people opening up their rigs, their PCs, they're installing this, and it looks like a beautiful and elegant product that gamers want, right? So very powerful. You'll see that the capacity is based on this, and we'll go a little bit into this, but why I wanted to start off with this is that these are amazing specs. And when we work with our sales enablement team, right, those who are going out to Best Buys, GameStops, everyone around the world, how do you sell in our product in terms of the competition, right? When you look at this is a sales sheet, or basically like a battle card, which basically shows our features and specs and how it compares to other products in the marketplace and how we perform, right? It'll talk about the specs, how we deliver, but this is the main challenge. If we ended the conversation and the product experience here, this doesn't sell products. This is something where we know the amplification, what the brand stands for, is something that's so paramount that we want to make sure that we're delivering on true innovation, because we know it'll attract, but we also know that there's so much more that we have to do to make sure that we pull and attract people into our universe so they consider us and be lifelong customers of the brand. So real innovation always attracts. This is something that, as you see, will really come through, and it's really key that when you have this, you have powerful stories to tell. So WD Black, right? You'll see this as a tagline. You'll see the logo and font. One of the things that we had to do when we first introduced the brand and introduced the collection of products is that we had to set our goals up front. And when you think about this, and when you're part of product launches and working with in terms of companies, the idea is really to distinguish a specific statement or goal about what you're trying to do and achieve. And you can apply this not only to brands, but you can apply this to what you want the product to be, how it fits into the portfolio. And for us, WD Black, and not only our products, but our goal was to be the gaming storage category leader that authentically enhances the gaming experience by introducing industry-leading products and services. WD Black is Western Digital's performing gaming brand. So when we developed this, we made sure that in every single application product that we develop, our goal is to always ladder up to this goal to ensure that we have that singularity in terms of what we do. And this is very consistent in terms of what you see with other successful brands, right? When you think about Nike, Nike does an amazing job where every single touch point from the actual shoe, sustainability of the shoe with some of the recycled product materials, their packaging, their advertising, their logo work, everything creates a seamless experience where you're always kind of getting immersed into a brand where the brand becomes a person. It becomes someone that you want to get to know. Do you like me? Do you not? And it really helps it define and really helps to take all of the speeds and feats and specs that we're delivering to solve solutions to really make sure our portfolio is very much relatable and relevant to our marketplace. We'll go a little bit more into that next. The second, I think, headline that I want to make sure everyone walks away is never assume you know your consumer. A lot of what we did, and when you look at WD Black as a gaming vertical, a lot of internal teams were struggling in terms of how do we connect? What do we see? And there was a lot of research and development done to really understand not only what consumers are facing, but where the trajectory of the future of gaming will go in the future. And that's really critical for us to be very top of mind to understand these trends and insights, because it directly impacts the product roadmaps that we start to establish with our product and engineering teams. So when you look at this, and we had a look at the gaming audience, you start to see that we're seeing the relevance of storage becoming very top of mind. The average PC and console storage is around 50 gigs to 1 terabyte. The active gaming base is around 2.9 billion worldwide. So it's a huge opportunity to connect with these consumers, right? When you look at AAA games, right, and these are games that are, perfect example, Battlefield 2042, Call of Duty, they are at least 140 gigs or more in a way that they're becoming so massive that it's becoming very much a challenge to be able to manage all of these. And even buying one of those games, you're starting to pick, what child do I pick and save that I'm going to fit into my PC and console storage, either a PC, a PlayStation or Xbox, where you're limited in capacity, where we now have a huge story. And the last thing is the average library size. When you think about gamers, they have a multitude of games that are, either backwards compatible or that they're currently purchasing, where they're trying to manage about 1.7 terabytes of content, not only in the game titles, but all the add-ons that people add. That really creates a groundswell of a conversation about how we do this, right? So when we're looking and talking through this, and you look at the specific, when you look at kind of these stats, when you look at and how it translates to the individual experiences that gamers are facing today, you start to thread through some very key pain points and needs that consumers have that they're looking for, right? So for notebook gamers, lack of connectivity, right? Sometimes there's not enough ports for extra gaming accessories. There's very limited storage space, and externals can be too slow. So when you think about the load times, downloads, transferring content, it tends to be a very slow process that has people waiting. You saw the load screen in that opening video. For desktop gamers, it's all about performance. They want little or no lag time. The idea of waiting for something to load is so painful. We know that some of the games can take up to 5 to 10 minutes to load, where if us as a business and our products can get them into the game faster, we win, right? Most PC gamers are based on Intel processors, so they don't have a way to get PCIe Gen 4 performance, right? So this is kind of where we're looking to really help champion that. The other thing too, and I touched on this earlier, is that they're looking for cool, innovative designs, right? A lot of times gamers identify with a specific aesthetic. So when you look at the peripherals, their accessories, they want to look and feel that feels elevated, that looks very cool, not only in their PCs, but when they're actually playing. So that was something that we definitely took in mind when we developed this brand. And then for console gamers, right? Lack of space on the 1 terabyte console, long load times and lag. And then they typically are expensive, right? And so having that consideration, people aren't necessarily, at least console gamers, sometimes aren't even thinking about storage until it's too late. So as we're kind of looking at not only the market trends, but also the pain points, it really helps us to define the type of gamer that we're engaging and really guides the product roadmap of the type of products that we do. So this can range everything from our mainstream gamer where they're just looking for a basic external drive to pop onto their PlayStation or Xbox. Enthusiast gamers take a little bit more seriously, but they're looking at maybe like a D30, which is a desktop SSD that basically has much more capacity to transfer content and other products. The other thing we also have to consider is that there's very much macro trends that pop up here and there, but we have to also capitalize on some very big headlines that are happening in the news where we're trying to at least make our brands relevant. So, we're looking at next gen backwards compatibility, for example, right? All the old games that you used to play on your old consoles can now be played on your new console. Gaming as spectator content. We know that this is massive where we see Twitch and YouTube and having live streams and active playing being such a phenomenon that this is something that we also have to kind of find solutions for to be able to champion that. And then more demand for streaming tools, right? So when you look at how many unique creators there are a month, pair that with the complexity of streaming, having dual setups, dual PCs to capture gameplay and also capture, your recording yourself, it becomes a challenge for us to kind of connect to these trends, but it provides us an opportunity to develop products that connect to what's happening literally in real time. And so for us, it's very key that we never assume that we know our consumer because it evolves on such a rapid pace. And what that does when we're looking at all the trends, all the pain points and how we target consumers, it helps us to define what our brand stands for and how we talk about our brand in terms of performance, speed for faster boot ups and downloads, capacity for larger game sizes, growing game libraries, connectivity, right? Helping enable all hardware to elegantly work together, quality, this is one of the biggest things that when we're talking about storage and you think about the reliability of saving, all of your games on one singular product, you better be able to trust a reliable product to be able to do that. And then finally, reputation, right? We know a lot, for decades, there's a lot of consumers that have trusted Western Digitals more than any of the brand. But what we wanted to do is really create a very specific sub-brand with WD Black to really cater to the gamer's needs in terms of aesthetic, look and feel, and performance. And that's really dictated into the next kind of next key theme I'd love for you to walk away with is that every touch point is a brand touch point. What do I mean by that? When you think about the experience of a brand, no matter what your favorite brand is, you have to make sure that it all seamlessly works together to create a world for people to buy into, right? Our products are not cheap, right? They have a potential premium to it because the use case and how much it's dimensionalized when you buy a console, a game title, or accessory or peripheral. What we wanted to do to really make sure is that every single touch point that we did really allows itself to feel like you're immersed in this premium experience specifically catered to gamers. So that really dictated not only our packaging, but our labels. It dictated the types of photography that we took and how we apply it so people kind of understand with education how it comes to life. And then how it comes to life through language, how it comes through in use cases where it feels completely immersive and credible to this gaming audience, right? We know gamers are very, let's say, vocal when they like or don't like something. They also are very vocal when they feel like a corporate brand's coming and trying to be, cool uncle coming into a gaming conversation, right? We had to make sure that we had a lot of gamers on our end that really help championing what's relevant, what's cool, what are they looking for us to be able to champion the look and feel and the experience of it, right? One of the things that we also did, and this is kind of speaking to, finding ways to connect and develop relevance to our gaming audience, is that when PlayStation finally did open up, what we wanted to make sure to do is making sure that we let everyone know that they needed PCIe Gen 4 technology and they can install this into their PlayStation 5 in a way that drove very, very significant success in terms of sales and revenue. This is something that I think is fantastic in trying to do, but we're always looking for those key moments, those key opportunities for us to talk through. Sorry. Another thing, so when we're looking at kind of a summary and how we kind of go to market, we really look at kind of 4 key things in terms of how we develop our marketing and advertising, right? And this kind of is summarized, is a good summary from what you previously seen, right? We have to ID the problem on a larger scale. Gamers don't know what they don't know, right? Storage isn't, let's just be very honest, it's not the sexiest product or category. And so we have to really make it relevant to them, right? We have to ID their problems, their use cases, their pain points on a very large scale to help solve that pain point, right? So a lot of the communication we did was really identifying how people are struggling with load times, downloads, games, but it's really to educate and own that gaming storage conversation to see the product before our competition does, right? Authentic conversations. I talked about this. We don't want to be the corporate brand coming down trying to be cool with the gamers. What we wanted to do is really not only have communication from gamers, but also looking for gaming advocates and experts and other brands that help to validate not only our brand, that we're credible, but it helps to develop word of mouth community. Because if I can convince one gamer that this is the best product on the market, he's going to tell about 10 of his friends. Newer, fresher experiences. This is where we know from gaming, and even from a product's perspective, when we look at console and PC gaming, that innovation is so top of mind, even when you think about AR and VR, that it's on the bleeding edge of technology, right? This is entertainment. So when we looked at how we find partners, alliances, and how we market the product, it's really key for us to show unlimited possibilities with our products and experiences, and not just the reliability of the product, right? We know gamers live in the future. They're always looking on what's next. And so we have to always be part of the conversation. And then finally, speak as a leader, right? When we're looking at establishing ourselves, this was 3 years ago, there was already gaming competitors, storage competitors in the marketplace. We have this so top of mind about that we have to speak from a place of authority where we're able to drive authenticity and cultural relevance, because gamers need to know that they're supported, not marketed to. And I think that's the biggest thing of what has made WD Black such a success and feels like an experience, right? I'm going to go a little bit more into the advertising that we've talked about that really brings to life these key things. So I'm going to share one of this. This is what a launch event that we did for these products down here. Sorry, these products down here. What this will feature is a lot of the marketing activity and the full global team that's behind these products to really help push it and make it relevant.
Depuis le lancement de WD Black, nous nous sommes toujours focalisés sur la création de solutions pour améliorer votre expérience de jeu.
Nós começamos com o SSD WD Black SN750 NVMe, conseguindo instantaneamente o reconhecimento dos gamers de que WD Black leva o jogo a sério.
Po pewnym czasie do naszej oferty dołączyły kolejne dyski P10, P50 oraz D10. Dzięki nim mogliśmy odpowiedzieć na zapotrzebowanie nie tylko posiadaczy komputerów PC, ale także użytkowników konsol do gier.
Last year, we brought you our blazing fast WD Black SN850 NVMe Gen 4 SSD with read speeds up to 7,000 megabytes per second, our gorgeous PCIe Gen 3 and 1500 NVMe SSD add-in card, and our Thunderbolt 3 D50 Game Dock NVMe SSD. As you can see, we've added the highly requested feature of RGB.
लेकिन ये हमने अकेले नहीं किया, ये आपके कारण है, हमारी WD Black कम्युनिटी के कारण, कि हम अपने WD Black ड्राइव्स को लगातार इनोवेट करते हैं.
You've supported us from the start. You were here for the highlights, lowlights, and heartfelt moments.
Really just tell you thank you. You have been the best mentor I could have ever asked for.
Wow. Oh man, I wasn't expecting to like cry on stream and like, you know.
Ihr habt uns nie verlassen, ihr wart immer bei uns, ihr habt immer an uns geglaubt. Danke dafür.
Por causa de vocês.
Społecznie.
Nous sommes. Jesteśmy.
Wir sind.
हम हैं.
Nós somos.
We are WD Black.
I think what you'll see in a lot of this communication is that, again, we know that we're in a different world, right? We know that there's a lot of opportunity for us to connect. And I think when you see this, the pandemic was very, very challenging for a lot of us, right? A lot of what we relied on was gaming events, right? Going to Gamescom, BlitzCon, going to RazorCon, the Game Awards, things like that just didn't happen over the last few years. And our team was able to pivot to be able to connect with consumers virtually. So doing a live stream was such a phenomenal thing. This is something where we brought in a lot of amazing people and do global outreach to a team where we're trying to create an experience around the product and the brand and having people represent this in a way that provides validation, right? I'm going to keep going. This is another, this is on Good Morning America. One of the key moments, the key things that we're always doing is looking for those key milestone moments, not only for that we can reach gamers, but potentially the parents that are gifting gamers, gifting gifts to gamers, right? I'll play this.
And also got the perfect gift that she can get you, one of those things that you need type of gift. And thanks to our sponsor, Western Digital, they've got the perfect gift for dad or graduate or any of the gamers in your life. Now, for console gamers looking to minimize game load times and get into the game fast, the sleek and compact WD Black D30 Game Drive SSD offers high-performance storage for games with read speeds up to 900 megabytes per second. Now, best of all, it's compatible with PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series XS. Gamers can spend more time playing games and less time deleting them with the expanded storage for up to 50 games with capacity options up to 2 terabytes. And for all of you at home, we're going to let you get in on the action. Drop what you're doing and head over to abcgma3.com because the first 45 viewers to sign up will get a WD Black D30 Game Drive SSD. That's like you get a drive, you get a drive, you get a drive, but you got to be in the first 45.
Yeah, so not everybody gets a drive.
So just really great contextual conversations. He explained the need for the product, I think that's the biggest thing as we take away and kind of look at this. Relying on product specs is fantastic. It helps us deliver the fuller team to kind of figure out how we connect to consumer insights and needs to be able to tell that bigger story. One of the bigger things that at least over the last 4 or 5 years that has completely disrupted advertising and marketing in general is the shift from traditional ads, like potentially like in-product integration like this, or even just TV advertising, to voices. And this is something that I think from a I don't know if this is the 4th or the 5th, let's just call it the 5th, is about authenticity. Authenticity is so paramount, not only for gamers, but into any consumers that you're looking for. And one of the big things, like I said, that is really disrupting the advertising age are influencers. And one of the things that we've done when we've looked at our influencers is that we've reached out to a number of different influencers to really celebrate the need for storage, right? So you'll see here that we've engaged everyone from Aiden to Vis, Atomic Mari, Christopher Yee, to really not only highlight and demo the products, show how-to videos, how it works within their lifestyles, but also just kind of organically placing products into their experiences, because it makes it very easy for them to understand how to use our products and make storage so much more relevant. Not only that, what we also did is that we reached out to people that are gamers, maybe secondarily, right? We're looking, when you think about gaming in general, we know that some people live and die, their livelihoods, careers is all dependent on gaming, but there's other ones that just love to have fun. And when we did that, we looked in the sports, entertainment, and arts and music arenas to see if we could also reach out to them. So here are some people where we did a lot of what you'll hear is organic seeding, where we send them products. We got this idea that if you go on TikTok and you see a lot of the makeup tutorials where Maybelline, Fenty Beauty, all of these makeup brands are sending free product and kind of getting influencers to cover and kind of demo and talk about the product. We basically did the same thing. We reached out to people like Steve Aoki, Julian Edelman from the Patriots, Ryan Kelly and Devin Druid that are on just some popular shows to be able to experience the product. And it's just so resounding because they were able to talk about the product within their own use cases and to really kind of highlight and share this. And their studies have shown that influencers, when they help market products, they actually get a better ROI than a traditional TV ad or digital banner. So that's fantastic. Let me show you a little clip of all of the influencers that we've reached out to.
Welcome.
This is not an ad. I'm not being paid to do this.
Haley, did that package come from you?
Miren lo que nos han enviado los amigos de Western Digital.
Alright guys, we got a nice little
giant
present
box
from
from WD Black, and with content,
You have to love the company. We got a company that I already really love.
Fire and it's sweet. I'm excited. Pooch out.
Activision. Merci les frérots. Merci.
How many of you guys have WD Black products, man? That's freaking dope. They're like partnered up with Cold War, man. So you got all the Cold War and COD stuff. Me, you guys know I play COD. I love COD.
It's your little bros B-Day coming up. Oh, yeah. Boom.
And I'm almost, sorry about that. I'm almost done, just a couple more, and then I think we can wrap it up. I think the other thing too, that as we're looking at communication, we also have to rely on where we have to fish where they live, right? That was kind of one of the key kind of strategies up front, is we have to fish where they live in terms of media, right? So we've done a lot of advertising and media placements on Twitch, Games Radar, Google Ads, Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, in a way that we connect with gamers on their level and where they're at. And what's actually really good about this as well is that when you look at, you think media placement, a win is if they click on it and they're able to go and purchase the product. But this is also a way that we can get consumer insights, right? When we advertise on Reddit, I think we did an AMA and we did some other communications where we saw threads and a lot of the communications that we've done that really helps generate a lot of conversation to get people into our world, right? We do weekly live streams with their WD Black stream team, where they're talking about use cases, but also just brand building, right? It's also just building experience where we connect with different brands and different communication pieces like Twitch, where we're able to kind of just immerse them into what we want to do. So it's either entertaining, inspiring them, or educating them in a way that really creates a unique experience for the brand. The last thing that we did, and this was something that we just did back in December, was the Game Awards. And the Game Awards is starting to become one of those major kind of events, especially during the pandemic, that really is kind of, it's a little strange, but it's a video game award show that's so fantastic. They invite a ton of celebrities to come visit, to come present, but they're also making huge product announcements along with that. So we've been the third-year sponsor on this. It's a massive viewership as we're looking for this. And our goal here was really, how do we break through to support not only our portfolio, but our specific product SN850, right? And like I said, influencers and authentic voices go a long way. And we found an opportunity to partner with Paul George. For those who are not familiar, Paul George is the co-owner of Academic Sports, esports team, and he is a huge advocate of his PS5. He's also 6-time NBA All-Star for the LA Clippers. He had a little injury towards the end. I think everyone was a little pissed about that. But not only with that, he's a huge avid and supporter of gaming. He's done a collaboration with the Nike and PlayStation shoe. And we were able to not only partner with Paul, but really talk about his own experience with the product that helps us make it cool and famous, but also helps to educate about the product. So what I'm going to show you is just a quick 2-minute clip of his our ad and him experiencing and presenting on behalf of us at the Game Awards.
What's one award? Is one award enough? Well, the gold medal. Was that enough? Nah. Is one title enough? Nope. What about one sponsor? No way. With every win, you only want more, because enough is never enough.
Welcome back. To present our next award, it's the man you just saw in that WD Black piece, and tonight you can get 10% off selected WD Black products to celebrate the Game Awards. Please welcome 7-time NBA All-Star and owner of Endemic, Paul George.
Good evening, everyone. I love action-adventure games for their versatility. 1 minute you're solving a puzzle, the next you're lining up headshots, and then suddenly you're being put on a hook by a vampire lady taller than me. This category is like a showcase of what it means to be a video game. Here are the nominees for Best Action-Adventure Game.
So, I mean, that was a long video, but I think it just goes to show about how we can organically place our brands to be able to drive a lot of awareness of our products and really just connect with gamers overall. I was really making sure I was watching the chat because a lot of you guys all know about, there's a lot of spicy conversations that happen there. But I think that's it. I think what I love for you, and I think this has been kind of a labor of love from a lot of us here at Western Digital. We love the WD Black brand, but I think as you're thinking about your own experience as you kind of head into experiences where you're launching a product, really think, and hopefully this is something that you can walk away with, right? Real innovation always attracts. We don't cut corners. We're setting goals very high, and so it's very key that innovation, when you're really connecting and caring for what consumers need, will go a long way. Set your goals up front. What are the goals about what you're trying to achieve? As lofty as they are, it really is something that really helps to define and helps to be critical of all of the work that you do, because you start to understand that the work that potentially doesn't ladder up to your goals tend to be superfluous, right? Never assume you know your consumer. Always learn, always consider and take a learning perspective. I think a lot of what I've learned from my experience of working in advertising is stay curious about people. People, in the end of the day, what we're doing is just talking with people. All of what you saw is a conversation, and it's really very key to understand them as much as they understand themselves, right? every touch point is a brand touch point. When you look at the full immerse, product ID is critically important. Marketing and advertising is important, and the product experience, both hardware and software, is key to have a very rounded, integrated approach. And then finally, authenticity is paramount. Making sure you're connecting to consumers in a way that they understand you, they feel seen, and they feel like they are being celebrated and not marketing to can go a long way. And with that, thank you everybody for joining. Definitely going to open it up to Q&A for any questions that you have, but thank you. And we're hiring. Jimmy.
Yeah. Thanks, Anthony. So yeah, but before we kind of start going into questions, that we just wanted to tell everyone, we are hiring. Here, I'm going to put in the chat as well a link to you can feel free to use the QR codes, but for those who are here on the left hand side, that's a link to kind of our direct to like our direct hiring website. So if you're a professional and you're thinking about Western Digital might be somewhere you want to go, this is a good, the link on the left-hand side will be the one that you want to go to. I know right now we currently have over 150 engineering roles posted across the organization. So you can look there. And then on the right-hand side, and I'll put this link in there as well. The right-hand side is more for our students. So we're not hiring for interns anymore. That I know our interns are starting fairly soon, I think this week, if not next. But the right-hand side will take you to the link where we have, I think, 24 current like new college grads. So any graduating seniors or grad students that are interested in joining Western Digital, the right-hand link will take you straight to that. And yeah, apply today. I think this would be great.
Apply today. For fun.
All right, let's see. Okay, so first question we have is, so I'll add to it a little bit. Are there any specific skills or characteristics that WD is looking for? Or maybe if we think of, someone who would work on the WD team, what do you think are some skills or characteristics that help them stand out?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So, I think from my perspective and kind of in the conversations that we have, when you think about our brand specifically, right? We're kind of established brands, at least maybe not WD Black, because that's a relatively new brand, but when you think about WD, SanDisk, these are brands that have been around for a while, right? And when you look around and you see who we're competing against, and even when you look at other companies within the consumer tech space, innovation is so key for us to always progress and make it feel relevant and new. So from my perspective, when you think about the type of people we want to attract, it's really having a sensibility that we're thinking about consumers first. What tends to happen, kind of in my experience with some of the consumer tech brands, is that we tend to get into the speeds and feeds and solving the performance and having the best technology. But if we're not catering to solving the specific use cases of the users, that's key. So for me, curiosity is paramount. Taking a transformative approach and not taking no for an answer is very key as well. A lot of this, as you can imagine, is something that is very different than what our organization has done in the past. And it really takes a bold person, I would say a bolder personality and risk-taking to be able to continue to progress technology and progress storage to be highly relevant to today's world, as well as looking in the future.
It's funny you bring up the future towards the end there. The second question we have is, do we have any info on PCIe Gen 5 SSDs?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna keep shut. I think this is a very good question. I think the way that I can answer this is we are always keeping our finger on the pulse and making sure that we're always first to market with everything. When you look at our SanDisk products, when you look at our products here, you'll see that our engineering team and product teams are pushing the envelope on really staying on the bleeding edge of innovation and performance. So can't say too much about that, but what I will say is that I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So next question we have in here is, so I know one of your points, Anthony, was around you never assume you know your customer or your consumer. So was there a big assumption you made about a customer that was wrong, or about our customers that were wrong?
Totally. So there's a couple of key people on the team. Jimmy will become one of them because I know Jimmy's an avid gamer. I'm a very, like, to be honest, like my gaming is very limited, but I do game. But what we tend to do is that we will make assumptions about gamers, and a lot about, especially with the ID and enclosure, and even what we wanted to call the brand has always been called into question. I know that I do not live and breathe gaming every day the way that some of our other team members do. They are my right-hand man. They are my advocates and my sounding board to really make sure, does this make sense? Do you like this? Is this something that you think our consumer base would like? They will literally say, that's bullshit. That's disgusting. Don't do that. And it's crafted a way, go pursue this. It's those types of conversations that keep us grounded to really understand what consumers are doing, because especially with gamers, they are so amazing in terms of adopting new technology, new ways of connecting, right? AR, VR, like that's going to be a huge thing in the future about how that comes to life, where we 100% made a lot of false assumptions about the gaming audience, but we made sure to bring gamers into the fold and into the decision making to make sure that it was always resonant from a very foundational approach.
All right, next question I have in here, I'm still good on time. Is WD Black looking to expand into areas outside of storage?
Good question. Yeah, this is something that's really interesting. And then when you look at some of our other products, like on SanDisk, we've gotten into mobile charging and adding storage to that. Storage is so paramount in terms of us solving that. There has been some conversations about where do we go and where do we take the products on the roadmap, right? The biggest thing that I think where we win is that we do what we do best, and we know storage. I think when you look at this and you look at our portfolio and portfolios, we also, when you look at our D30, you can plug in all of your products, your peripherals as a power source. There's certain things that within storage that we still are so untapped that we have a lot of opportunity to go into, right? If we went and created headphones or mouses or things like mice, I don't know. But, is that authentic to our brand? That's the type of criticism that we have to hold ourselves to a standard that when we go back to our goal up front, if the product doesn't fit that, it potentially doesn't fit the roadmap. Or we find a way to pivot it to make sure that it lives and breathes what our true value proposition as a brand is.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the expand storage, because I have one of those.
There you go.
One of those on my desk that backs up my phone pretty much every day, and then I can charge it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the opportunities that we're seeing is streaming. I don't know if anyone on the call is a streamer, but when you look at the pain points and use cases of the streaming workflow process about when you stream, it's such a huge opportunity for us to think about how we evolve products to be able to help champion that space and workflow.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So that's all the questions that were in the Q&A. I'm not sure if anyone has anything else. I don't know, maybe 30 seconds, give a minute to see if there's anything else, but.
Great questions, by the way. Very good questions.
Well, thank you so much, Anthony and Jimmy. And just towards the end here, I also want to remind everybody, and maybe Jimmy, you can explain that we are going to be raffling off some WD products for those who joined us live tonight.
Yeah. So for all of you who are here today, thank you very much. We'll take a look at the attendee list, and yeah, we have some cool WD swag. I know we have some shirts and stuff, and we also will be giving away, I think it was, I want to say is the P10 game drive. So we'll see what we have in our pile, but you can at least expect that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Western Digital team, for joining us tonight on our Latinx webinar. We really appreciate it. And it's been great partnering with you all. And just thank you for joining us tonight, those who listened in. And this will be recorded and on our SHIP National channel. So if you want to watch it again or share it with any of your other SHIP Familia members, please feel free to share the link. But otherwise, have a great evening, everyone. And thank you again, Anthony and Jimmy, for joining us. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.